All right, we out here.
Hello, hello.
Music.
Yeah, no, we did need some music.
That's fine.
Yes. Hello, viewers. Thank you for another episode of Romance and Finance. Legacy Builders here. And tonight, what is our topic, guys? What are we talking about? We're talking about money kept us together.
Yes,
Money
yes,
kept
yes.
us together is the
Yes.
topic. Myself, my name is Tiana Moody. I'm a realtor, also an interior designer. We have Rashidi here, who's also a realtor, also a credit guru. We also have Tawana here, who does credit and budgeting. She also is very skilled in wills and trusts, as well, and power of attorneys. We also have Kayleen, who is a financial strategist. He's well versed in life insurance as well as mortgage insurance to protect your mortgage. So if you need any of those services outside of dating topics, definitely reach out to us at www.legacybuildersus.com. Again, that's www.legacybuildersus.com. And I'm in New York now. I've been for a while, so I talk fast. So I'll try to repeat myself. But yeah, let's get started, guys. Let's get started.
All
Yes,
right.
yes.
So topic.
Mm-hmm.
Money's what kept us together.
Money is what kept us.
voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has money kept any one of you guys together in a relationship?
I think this topic is for y'all.
Yeah.
But, if I'm being honest, no. Naturally, because, I'm the male, I'm the leader. So as far as money keeping me together with any relationship I'm in or was, no. Because for the most part, even in rough times, I always manage a way to keep the bills afloat, and navigate hard situations. Because at the end of the day, I was always brought up to where, you got to have your own and make sure you're financially stable. Because the one thing, my mother always taught me and my family always taught me, don't have a woman controlling you and be able to kick you out at any given time. So I live by that also. For me, I'll be honest, me personally, no. Money's never really kept me together with anybody just because, like I said, I've made sure I'm semi stable.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spotlight's on me, huh?
Yep.
I mean, truth be told, yeah. It's very similar to Rashidi. Money never really kept me together with a woman. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really the money, but for me, I always make sure, to be honest with you, is that I don't want to say I was in charge of the woman's money, but I like micromanage how a woman spent her money, because how she spent her money is gonna affect how I live my life if we were together at that time. So I wouldn't go as far as say the money is what kept us together, but it did play a factor, of how we moved, what decisions we made, if we were able to splurge some months, if we need to cut back on certain things, there was times when we didn't have it. Were we in a bad mood, or were we not getting along?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the sole purpose of truly what kept us together. It really just sustained us. It really just kept us going. But it wasn't what really, kept us together and drove the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to know from especially from y'all as women, y'all perspective. How do y'all view that? How do y'all see that?
I personally have not dated just for finances. Y'all know me, my dating for love.
Yeah.
My dating is for love. However, in this single life of mine and throughout dating, I have encountered some guys who are married and claim that they are separated but still live with the wife for financial purposes.
That's
They both own the home, pay mortgage, they have kids together, but they are separated because it's just easier to stay together in the same household.
Yeah.
How true that may be, I don't know. But then I've also encountered another gentleman too who said the same thing. So I'm like, coming out of a almost 7-year marriage back on the dating scene in my 40s. I'm like, well, is what's going on these days? You know, I've always been in longevity relationships, dating back before I was married, things was different. So I'm like, is this a thing? Is times really that hard where these married people are just still together?
Right, you got to think about
for finances,
right? You got to think about it before you break up with a person.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I do feel like 2 incomes in a household nowadays is needed. Period.
100%. There's no way around that.
So I can understand if people do that for that purpose. It's struggle. It's hard in these streets. So
I was gonna say, I don't mean to cut you. I'm sorry, but I was gonna ask you, how would you deal with a situation like that? Like,
first of all, off the rip, you're lying. I ain't got nothing to do with you because one thing we don't do is touch married men.
Right, that's true. That's true.
That's like off. That's like biblical wise, as a standard, as a woman, as a person. For myself, like that's a no-no.
Yeah.
So is it just because it's a no-no just because she's potentially living in the house?
That and many other things.
Okay, so I was actually watching a show, and they were talking about how divorce does take a while sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
The process.
Sorry.
So especially if you have a lot of assets and there's kids involved, it's not such a simple thing. So what if it is a scenario where both parties are like totally separated, but you know, like what you said, you know, they're definitely separated, but they just living together because they're still going through the divorce process. Things are tied up. Kids are still involved.
Man, that takes some deep trust. Let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all something, because think about it. What woman really trusts that the man? I mean, you have history with this woman, regardless of what may have taken place or whatever. You've been with this woman for 10, 15, 20 years. Okay, you grew apart, whatever the case may be. You still have kids together. And like, do you really trust that man and that woman is not dabbling with each other?
It's true. What if he doesn't live there anymore?
I don't know. Me, it's just like the whole divorce. The divorce has to be done. And I get it. I get some people just are separated.
Yeah, because even with the separation, right? So you got to remember there's phases to it. So somebody could be separated for 2 years, but because of financial issues, they may not be able to like be in separate places, right? So then you have the separation, and then from the separation, it's still pending whether they're going to get divorced or not,
right? Because
you may say, "Oh, I don't want to be with this person," but you might end up getting back together with that person. Separation is just like a timeout, technically, until you come to that agreement to say, "You know what? I'm gonna get divorced." If the divorce is not processing, that separation to me is not a real thing. Like until they're like in the process of getting divorced, because that, like I said, that's different phases. How I know, because I've been through it. I was separated for some time first prior to getting divorced. But during the separation, I'm contemplating whether I should get back with this person or not. You get what I'm saying? So to be honest with you, with separation, it's not a real official thing. It can be, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is. So then you just got to be very, very careful when two people say that they're separated, because that can automatically go back towards, oh, we're back together. Now, when the divorce comes in play and that's processing, now that's a different story. But that whole thing in its totality can take years. So it's just a question of, are you willing to wait that time? That's really what it boils down to. Are you willing to deal with that until it's official? And the actions from that person will also let you know if it's a real thing or not. If they're really serious about moving on with their life or not. You know?
Well, I would say, like, you know, just being a realtor, from what I can see as far as like the rent prices, it's very hard for one person to live off of a single income. So I know that there are a lot of people who are in relationships right now because they really can't afford to live separately. They really can't stand each other, but at this point in time, it's like the only way to really survive. Like as far as like being able to have your own roof over your head, pay your light bill, your gas, all the things that comes with it. It's like almost like you might not like the person, or you might not be in love with them anymore, but it's just working financially for you right now. Like you really literally cannot afford to leave. Like, so I know that the dating scene must be very, very hard, because I'm pretty sure you have a lot of people who are in those types of situations. They just can't like afford to leave.
So I like how all y'all dodged the whole question. You know what I mean? Like, first off, y'all way on script.
Question did we die?
You're together because of the money. Like, first off, that's a red flag. We're not talking about after and you're separated. We're talking about together. First off, that's not a real thing. If a man is living with a woman and they're separated, quote unquote, but still living together because of the finances, that's an automatic red flag. That means both parties were horrible at planning for this, preparing for this financially. That is the reality, bottom line. Like, not that it can't happen, but that's like the key thing. Are you together because you guys couldn't afford to separate? But that's the point, though. And the point of it, too, is, did you guys stay together much longer because of the money?
I mean, if we're being honest, if we're sticking to that, right? If the person, think about it, the average person is making $50,000 a year and less. So if you can't even say you're staying with that person technically for the money, because you're not doing that much better than me.
Period.
So for me to say that I'm staying with you for the money, in my opinion, that's not even a real thing. I genuinely love you and care about you, because the money that you're bringing in, it may help us together. Yes, but it doesn't amplify the process to that degree. It's not like you're making 150, 200K a year and I'm making 30,000 a year, to where what you're doing is taking my life to the next level. But there are maybe a small percentage of people who do live like that. Let me make that clear. But there's very few people who live like that. The average person, they're combining incomes to make it work. So to your point earlier, they literally can't afford to leave.
Okay. Now you're finally getting real. Like, it's about time. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, at the end of the day, you can't afford to leave. But I guess at the end of the day, at what point do you make the decision to get out of that situation? So, what steps do you take?
Well, I have a question. That is a good question. So I have a question. So one of the gentlemen, because of course I was third degree in the whole thing about it. And one of the things that he said was the reason why is because let it out. He wanted it's about money for him. It was about money for him. He was like, he don't want to give her half. He was like, he didn't want to give her half. And he was like, he was like, listen, I've been holding it down for these 20 plus years. I paid this, I paid that, I paid that. He was like, nah, F out of here. I don't want to. He was like, I don't want to give her it. So that, I don't know if that was the main reason, but he was very like,
I mean, so that's the thing about it. So I don't. So the main thing is though. You want to tell me? But the main thing is, at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, that is very true. He's probably telling the truth. But at the end of the day, like, how do you, as a man, how do you stay in that situation? Because that means, to your point, I don't know if you're still dating them, but
absolutely not.
To your point, that's something where that's not really acceptable. Because now, not only you can't date for real at that point. Like, any woman in that situation that would allow me to do that, be honest, you're a chump. I'm being honest with you. Like, that's the truth. Like, if anyone would allow me to do that, like, that's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know I can walk all over you. So kudos to you for not accepting that, because, like, that's wild. Like, it may be true. I can understand if it's like a small amount of time, like, all right, cool, waiting a couple months to get my stuff together. But if he's like, no, I'm not going anywhere because of the money, that's super irresponsible. Right. At the end of the day, you could go live on a couch. You got to accept it. And that's part of the problem with a lot of men. They don't prepare for her to take half. Like, you got to prepare for that. It's just reality. Like, you got, like, a lot of dudes got to grow up in that situation. The real thing is just, again, holding women accountable for the situation. Meaning, listen, if we together, we grinding together.
Right.
So at least if you take half, I know you earn that
You
half.
earn that half,
But
right.
let's be honest, a lot of men don't make women earn that other half, and then he's doing stuff like that. That was your fault.
Right.
You might as well go and give her half and start your life over. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
know
was
what
gonna
mean?
say because even that's like another red flag is like his mindset. That already tells you where his
Mhm.
mindset is as
Mhm.
far as to like this woman's been with you for the last 20 years and you worry you're more concerned
Mhm.
about giving her half of your money than being happy. Like you'd rather be miserable than to split your money. Like that's how much you
But then-
hold, that's how much value you hold like money over yourself.
Yeah.
Like
But I
that's
think
crazy.
it's more because like when you think of something like that too, you think about, and I know that some people are just living their separate lives. They
Yeah,
still live in their
yeah.
same
Right,
household.
right.
So
Mhm.
not to defend him, but he's like living his best life.
I'm sure.
Sounds like
I mean,
It's
to
like-
sounds
segue
like it.
into that, like, the truth is, how do you ladies feel? Because that is a real thing.
Mhm.
Women as a whole allow us to live our best life. That's why he's able to live his best life. Because if we're being honest, the standards have been dropped in today's generation with us all, but with women in particular too, though. Because, like, trust me, back in the day, we would have never been cool with that. Because we know, first off, she's not giving it up in that
Right.
situation.
Right.
Right? If we're being honest.
Right.
But in these days, it's like, oh, there's a lot of women that will accept that.
Mhm.
So, like, what's y'all take on that? How do y'all feel about that? You know.
Yeah, definitely. It's a no. No, like seriously,
Absolutely
First of
not.
all, when you first tell me that you're married, like we didn't have nothing else to talk about. Like
Mm.
you're married. That's a whole
Mhm.
mess. I don't want nothing to do
Yo,
with
that'd
that.
be my first question.
Yeah,
It'd
if
be
you
like,
married-
okay, are you in a relationship?
Yeah,
Are you married? Well, let me be more specific.
right.
Do you have a situation? Is there someone that you're sleeping with?
Yes.
You know, because even if you ask them if they're in a relationship,
Mhm.
or they'll be like, no, I'm not,
Mm.
knowing that they're casually sleeping with that one person. Dude,
Yeah.
you're in a relationship. If
Yeah.
you just
Mm.
with that one person, I don't care if you want to put a title on it or not.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
those is like my questions, like, okay, what's your situation?
But
Right. And where do you live?
Yes.
well, those are valid questions.
And who do you live
Comments.
with?
You can see if anybody
Yeah.
connected.
No, nobody
Okay.
commented. So
Yeah,
On
so I
yours,
have some
I'm on
comments. Jaleesa's here. She says, "Hi, Legacy Builders. Hi,
Hey.
Jalisa. My family first. My cousin says, if money keeps us together, it's a business, nothing else.
Oh.
Mhm, okay.
Yes. Hey, cuz. And Jalisa Brown says, gotta ask the right questions. Yep. So let's talk about what they said. If
And then
money
I'ma
keeps
go
us
to
together,
Kay's page. He got some comments.
Okay.
On his.
all right. If money keeps us together, it's a business.
Mhm.
How do y'all feel about that?
You know, first off, it is a business. Let's not get away from that. A lot of people get away from that. Like, it is actual business.
Mhm.
A lot of times for women in general, y'all focus on the emotional standpoint, but it's literally a business. It's literally a marriage certificate. You're
Mhm.
literally legally bind. It's a legally binding contract,
Mhm.
like anything else, like buying a car, everything else. So it is a business first,
Right.
to be honest with
Okay.
you, and that we do got to understand. And to your point with about asking the right questions, I'm gonna be honest with you ladies. Stop it. It's 2024.
Wait,
Nobody is single. Like that. That is the most ridiculous thing of all time. Let's be honest.
That's not true, because Kay is single.
Elaborate what you said when you said
He's
that.
casually
let-
dating.
let-
I think
let's-
you kind of confused them. a
Yeah,
little bit.
let me clean it up. Let me clean it up. The number one thing that, like you said, women have those questions, right? Are you single? But the reality of the situation is someone is either always talking to somebody, have somebody close within the vicinity of their life, or have somebody on the back burner. It is hard to go out there and say 2024 that most women are just completely single or most men are just completely single. It's always somebody in the background. And the only situation where that's true, where we identify as women that, like, I've been celibate for 2 years. And she's dead serious about being celibate, because we can tell.
Yeah, you
Because a
can
lot
tell.
of women say that too, it's like, stop lying. But some women, we can tell, like, hey, they
Stop
really
it,
been
Bob.
celibate. You know what I mean? Like, so I say that to say that, like, asking those questions, you do have to do it. But in the back of your mind, y'all should know that that's not a real thing. It's really just about building and getting to exclusivity. And then once you get to that natural exclusivity, continue to ask those questions as you're getting there. But that's not a real thing. Nobody out here is really single. Somebody probably got somebody out there, but it's like 10% of people that say they're single or really single. Nobody just don't want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. But please, it's
Yeah, because I just want to say, since the roles, women are single. I don't know what he's talking about.
Denial. That's the artist of problem.
Stop lying.
I just said that for all the kids.
Denial.
No, we gotta get to the case.
Yeah, let's see what
Okay,
they-
get
let's
to
see what
Okay,
they say.
so first we got the 24 shadow is on here. Thanks for tapping in. And we also have King One. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your whole thing right here, but
That's my guy.
early.
Chris. What's
Oh,
up, Chris?
okay, Chris. What's
Mhm.
up, Chris? Okay, so the shadow is saying nobody has time for home records on either side. He was
Okay.
commenting to what we was talking about earlier,
Uh,
right? And then he said that's a fact because if the divorce isn't official, then that means they can get back together at any time.
True.
yeah.
Piggybacking off of what you said,
Mhm.
he said that's what you call a mutual understanding.
Mhm.
And then he said definitely got to be specific about the questions because they will find a loophole to the answers. And Chris, you said explain that. I'm sorry. Can you kind of put in the chat what you was talking about? Explain what part we was talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if he's.
Yeah, because we done said a bunch.
I mean, while he's doing that, I mean, what are some ways that you guys think that well, I guess what are some solutions, right? Because we still want to be solution based in this process, right? What are some ways that people can find ways to eliminate the problem of only staying together for the money or making money the issue? What are some risk avoidance situations where we can avoid that, and if without going through it,
I mean, I think for me personally, just asking the uncomfortable questions, not on the first or second date, the third or fourth date. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause listen, that's
I
another
never
thing.
said it was the first
Listen,
date.
I know, but ladies be drilling ladies be drilling questions like me. It's like, whoa, we just met. You talking about babies and all that. But anyway, I understand. We got time though. We got time. We got time.
like you walking with a digital profile.
Yeah,
on your
exactly.
face.
Though, like, no, but I mean, once you guys go on a few dates, it's just asking questions like, how's your credit? I know my credit is not the greatest right now. I'm trying to build, and that takes people off of defense and on, understanding because it's like, yo, we're gonna build together. You know what I mean? I just want to know. You can't ask on the first second date because then it looks
little note cards.
what you call it.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I mean, another thing is just asking like, what are some of the goals? Like, where do you legit see yourself in a few years? Asking questions like, do you see yourself buying a house? And using yourself as an example, like, hey, I'm not a homeowner. I don't ever see myself a homeowner. That's the direct way of asking and getting information without putting somebody on defense.
You know what I think to add to that's actually good.
Yeah.
I was thinking too. Where do you see yourself living? Because we in New York, right? Some of us is in Jersey, CT. We're in the tri-state area. But what if I want to go to Florida in 2 years from now? What if I want to go to Georgia 2 years from now? But what if she sees herself living in New York for the rest of her life? Like she loves New York. Like, so a lot of times something as simple as just asking, where do you want to live?
Right.
Is a big thing, You got one kid. Do you want another kid? If so, do you see yourself raising that kid in the state of New York?
Okay.
Do you want to go down south? The extracurricular activities in down south is a lot better than New York. So these are the conversations, like we said, fourth or fifth date, maybe, we get a little more exclusive,
exactly.
right? But these are the type of conversations because it's like a filter. When you have these filters, now if this person, and from a moral standpoint, is compatible with you or not.
Right.
Are you religious? Are you spiritual? What do you believe in? What is your family? Do you have a family?
How's your relationship with your mother?
Correct.
Because that's going to determine how you are with your girl, wife, whatever.
And I think,
but again, let's hold on.
Yeah.
Let's hold on.
No, we don't want to get off topic. We don't want to get off topic. That's a topic for another one.
I just want you to rephrase that a little bit. Go ahead.
No. I mean, but like ultimately, those are the type of things that I feel like we should be. Those are like type of questions that need to be asked,
right,
in order for people to know if it makes sense to move forward with that person or not. And I think some people are afraid of the letdown, afraid of the disappointment
Mm.
of that other person. And it's okay.
Yeah.
If you guys are not connected, if you guys are not compatible, that's okay. But I think that, society is telling us, just to continue going,
Mhm.
knowing
It ain't gonna work
subconsciously
out.
that it ain't gonna work.
Right.
And you know,
Yeah.
like that inner you knows
Right.
that it's
Trust your
not.
gut. Yeah.
And it's your gut feeling. It says the second brain, and it tells you what you
Mhm.
should do, and you
Yeah.
don't take advantage of it.
Yeah, and
You know
that's
what
usually
I'm
when the attraction is at its highest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It ain't gonna
I mean,
work.
that's real. That's real. The
Yeah.
physical,
Yeah.
it just
Everything.
takes over everything.
Mhm.
Like, yo, I know, but just
Yep.
but Shorty is just like, damn.
So bad.
Oh my
like,
goodness. It's got you,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just,
That look like you in the moment.
I
kid.
was just now.
Come back.
I had a little
Bring it in,
flashback.
bring it in.
I had a little flashback. You know what I'm saying?
But this is what I
For
was
real.
gonna say, right? I was gonna say that's all good for preparation before. What do you do if you find yourself in a situation where you didn't prepare and you ended up in a situation where you're not with the person that you really want to be with, but you just can't figure your way out because now you guys are paying rent together and you haven't prepared and you're not making enough money to pay rent on your own. And so what do you do to prepare or to build yourself up so that you can leave?
I mean,
question.
from a male perspective, that's a tough one.
Mhm.
But you got to be mature and disciplined enough,
Yeah.
and put in your mind that you're okay with moving back home with your mother.
That part.
You
That
know?
part,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That
they
part.
Yeah.
As men, it's hard to be a grown man to go back to
Go
that
through that.
situation.
Yeah, 100.
And what you got to accept if you go back to that situation is that you can be dating and it's fine, but you have to accept that only certain women will
Take you
accept
seriously,
that.
yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's the part from a male perspective where a lot of men don't really take serious because it's like, damn, I don't want to go back to my mother's house and they lie and they XYZ. But the truth is, if you accept you and accept that and be like, yo, I got to move back to my mom's house and be like, listen, any woman I'm dating, I'm at my mother's house. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and that's it. And it could be for various reasons. The truth is, though, if you're confident and you know where you're going and you have a plan, a woman will be forced to respect that at the end of the day. And if she doesn't, she wasn't for you anyway. And a lot of men don't realize that situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll give myself as an example. I mean, there was a time that I moved back to my mother's house in adulthood. It was only like 7 months, but
You had to throw that out there.
but it wasn't for financial reasons. It was
Right.
just like, just relocation and getting reestablished and all that type of stuff. And, and helping out, as far as that goes. But I was confident in the situation. Like, it was like, listen, I'm in my mother's house. Like, no problem.
Real proud.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm putting that out there. I know what I'm doing. And listen, it was women that was like, ghosted me. And it was women that, but I was chilling. I was like, all right. And then I also found women that dated me, no problems, no issues at all. So it's just being confident in yourself and doing that. And unfortunately for men, a lot of us don't know how to do that. And that's where the problems come at. Because you're trying to do something and be somebody that you're not and afford something that you can't afford. And now you dig yourself in a pit. And then it's just downhill from there until you're forced to do what you got to do.
Right.
I like that. What about you, T, for women?
I think for a woman's perspective, the 24 Shadow is commenting. That's a dope question because you have people that haven't even seen live or live life outside of where they live. Then he said that's the whole point of dating, to see if you two are compatible. And if not, then it's okay because at least you know before you guys made a commitment.
Right,
Yes,
right.
agreed. I think for a woman who winds up getting herself in a situation and realize, okay, this is not what it was supposed to be. I think it all stems from your upbringing.
Okay.
And you have women who are strong and just like, listen, I've done seen my mom do this and do that. If she can do it, I can do it. And then you have people who probably don't have that self-confidence and feel like they're just stuck. I really feel like it depends on the type of woman they are, and it always stems from your upbringing, always stems from a root on your mindset and what you've seen growing up. But I do know for women, and sometimes it takes a long time, but once we get there and we get our mind made up, we make moves. But sometimes it takes longer. It takes longer because I feel like God has built us to take on so much You know, he built us to be the men's helpmate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's whether y'all in business, taking care of the home, taking care of the kids. Proverbs 31 gives you a whole rundown. Like every woman should want to be Proverbs 31 woman because she supported her husband while he was taking care of running business, and she was running her own business too. Read Proverbs 31. And so he built us. He built us to be that way. So we sometimes take on a lot. And I feel like a lot of the times it depends on who God sends our way for the encounter. Like, because sometimes we feel like we're in a hole by ourselves. We're ashamed of because we are grown women and we don't let ourselves get in this position. So sometimes we may not want to share that with family or friends. But then God still sees. And he still wants to send that person and kind of be like, all right, sis, it's time. It's time to rise up out of that. But I really think it depends on the mindset.
So let me ask you though, with that said, as your grown self, quoting Proverbs, all of that. I love the Bible. Read Proverbs, is real. But you at your adult self now, dating, a man comes up to you, tells you he lives with his mother because he didn't want, like the topic says, stay together because of the money. You dating him? And what can he say to convince you? Not even convinced. We're not in business convincing. What is he gonna say to you to make you confident to date him? And can you date that man?
It depends. Like you said, it goes on the second, third, fourth, fifth date. You gotta get to know the person. So if somebody comes to me, like, cause I know people who live at home with their moms, but it's not because they're in a financial bind.
Okay, but to the question, can you date that man?
If he's at home with his mom, yes.
All right, let's get deeper because you say yes, that's easy.
Because
so hold on. No, because I'm digging deep. First of all, I want to know. Wait, hold on. Where is he taking you? Where is he taking you? Where is he taking you?
But that's the thing. That comes back. That kind of goes back to the previous topics that we had as far as dating a man with a plan. We don't know if that's just his temporary until he gets up there. You don't know if I'm able to feed him my knowledge and wisdom and help him get encouraged to build him up. If he's willing to be encouraged to take some of the stuff and glean off of me and where I have come, then I'm gonna date him and help build him up and get him out of his mom's household.
All right.
Which is why if y'all divorce, you deserve half.
There we go. Back to that.
She closed on that.
Oh my goodness. So I guess my question for you, that was great, and those are valid points, and there is hope out there. Men, there are women out here that still do that. 90% of women these days like, nah, that's crazy. But so there is hope out there. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. If he lives at home, are you okay with him always coming to your house? Are you, if he can't come to your house, are you okay dating what type of timeline? Because you got to take you at a hotel to spend intimate time with you. Like, how does that look? Because although you're saying that, I'm just curious for both y'all women, how y'all gonna handle that? Because if we being honest, not to be vulgar, but it's either the telly, the car. I'm just saying, from an intimate standpoint, how do y'all navigate that? Because I just want to know that question, and I'll shut up when I hear this answer.
Depending upon this, look what your mother thing. Depending upon the situation, if you know what's going on, are you taking care of her? You know, are you just there to get yourself together, like you said? Now, if that's the case, it has to be a deadline. Like we have to have, there has to be some kind of future date or something where we expect.
What's your goal?
What's your goal? We have to be working towards a goal, and I need to be seeing that you are actually trying to get out of here.
Okay.
Right? But I don't mind a hotel. I love hotel bed sheets.
Listen, we could go to a hotel because then I feel like I ain't gotta get up and clean and do all that stuff. It's okay.
I like nice. As long as he's paying, right? Is that
okay. Like you see that question, y'all go. They took the benefit.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Just shot it. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it goes that full circle to say, they, it's not just about the money. You know what I'm saying? What is the plan? You know, like I already said, as long as the guy got a plan,
Yeah.
That's truly what's important, right? I think ultimately though, because of social media, right, it can over glamorize that concept of what women truly want from a man because of how you see things, right? And if a man, from a man's perspective, if he sees that and he can't live up to that, now in his brain, he may not be able to attract that woman or get that woman if he don't have the bag or if he's not doing certain things. You get what I'm saying? And then from the woman's perspective, or I mean, we're talking about the average man and woman. You get what I'm saying? From the woman's perspective, she's like, ain't no good men out here, and which is simply not true. There's a lot of good men out here. There's a lot of good women out here. But because of the projections and the trajectory of social media and what what that standard is, it's hard for the men and women to come back down to reality and truly base their judgment off of what's really going on and how they can actually connect with that man or that woman. So then it's just a hard, the dating pool becomes harder when it doesn't really have to be.
Yeah.
You know, the prerequisite of what a man and a woman is looking for, sometimes it could be astronomical or a little delusional.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because it's connected with the ideology of social media.
Right.
And it shouldn't be like that.
I
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you 100%, Kay. And this goes back to the saying that everybody says, it's like you don't know what you have until it's gone. And because a lot of women are watching social media and they have this unrealistic idea of what a man's supposed to be like. That I think it just comes with a level of maturity. Right. Her realizing what her needs actually are and what she's looking for in a man. And sometimes I always talk about how sometimes things, I said that this morning in our post, things sometimes they don't happen to you, they happen for you. And sometimes you might meet a bad man who treats you very bad, just to realize to see what you had in a good man. So you learn what you don't want anymore. Right. The grass is never always, sometimes it's not greener on the other side. Exactly.
And I want to check some comments too. So I had a couple comments. So Sharifa said religious beliefs, credit, finances, kids in that order. And then we got Nika talking is great, but people change their minds and people like to impress others. That's a good point.
True.
Kia says no thank you. And then she says, not at this big age. I did that when I was 20.
In the car. I knew that was the car, Kia. I knew it.
What up, Kia?
And then Nika said, why do women have to settle for men who are ideally not ready?
True.
So these are some good topics. I mean, what do y'all thought? You know?
I wish that one was settling when men is not ready. I feel like sometimes, and I'm not that type of woman, but sometimes women just want to be loved. So they'll settle for whatever they can get just to be in a relationship. You know, I know you guys said y'all don't date for love, but we still got some women out here that date for love. It's not all about just a come up.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think all people want love, and I do think most women still want love. I think that finances play a real role, like Kay was saying earlier on, where it's a lot of women that are delusional in that situation, so they use finances to find love. You know what I mean? Like they start off looking at your money first to be like, oh, he could take care of me, he could do this, and eventually fall in love. The problem with that formula is that it started off with money. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, although over time she's gonna naturally, because you know, sex get involved, intimate, emotionally, mentally, you all connected. So eventually it's gonna, you know, you're gonna fall in love. But then by that point, if you started off a certain way from a guy's perspective, we always have that back in our mind, like it's always our money. And also for men, that's just insecure. You shouldn't be doing that. Because there's a lot of dudes that know women are dating not just for money, but it starts off with money.
So that brings I have a question off of that.
Let me okay, because we got more comments. So
okay.
I want to feel like they
go ahead. You can do the
Okay.
First. So with that being said, you as men, do you share with the woman you're dating your income?
Income? As far as income?
Like how much you make, or like say you millionaire, 2 millionaire, whatever. You got like all this money, but you live in this life. You live like you don't you not a millionaire, do you feel like you share that with
Okay,
someone?
yeah,
you're
let you
dating?
go first,
To be
Kate.
honest with you, if we're at that level, but if we're just like casually dating, no, that's none of
Right.
their business, respectfully.
But once you are like in that relationship, you're ready to.
I mean, I think to be honest with you, because if we're on that level, she's seeing my moves, the way I'm moving. I have to be, not necessarily have to be, but I should be at a certain bracket the way that I'm moving. If I'm always busy, if I'm always in these meetings, if I'm always, and she knows what I do for a living, you get what I'm saying? Then she should have an idea, even if I'm not directly telling her, she should have an idea of what I'm making. Now, if she generally asks me, I'll give her a nice ballpark figure. She don't have no exact amount of my bank account.
So I love Kay's response.
Okay.
But the truth is, nah. Like listen, I ain't gonna say I hold you though. Like,
Yeah.
so, and I get it, because
Yeah.
I get your perspective. But
Yeah.
for me, my perspective, nah. I always tell women what I make, because I'm not in the business of selling false stories, dreams, all that other nonsense. Like, no ballpark, no guessing games, none of that. When I got my first job at Liberty Mutual and I was making my little $14 an hour, at first I was happy as hell. I got 401k. I was selling shorties. I got a 401k. I got a grown man job. Respect me. Like, you know what I mean? When I was making my $18 an hour, I told him, like, no, I can't buy you mad stuff. You're going to go to this Thai restaurant. It looked real nice. It cost $70 for the meal. We having a blast. Like, I always tell my income, because otherwise you put yourself in a situation where, to your point, Kate, now they're assuming that everything is running smooth because they don't have an idea of what you make.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I always put things in perspective.
Be careful with that, like, because she thinks you're busy and you're
exactly
right. Now she's assuming that you're making this, because especially being an entrepreneur, let's just be honest, it's hard being an entrepreneur in the first start of your business. You can be running and still really not making much of anything. So she could think that you haven't. So now she's thinking, oh, you're so busy, you in meetings here and there, so why you can't take me out? And you like, listen.
No, true. But you know what somebody taught me? Do you know when you meet someone why they ask you what you do?
Yeah, I know the answer to that. I'll let ladies know.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Because they want to know how they should treat you.
Absolutely.
The level of respect that they should give you.
Absolutely.
So for me, to full circle your question, like I said, I'm giving you a ballpark figure, and it's messed up because it shouldn't be like that, but that's how it is. Even if that ballpark figure is accurate or it's not, I'm letting you know my value. I'm letting you know financially and spiritually where I'm at. So if you can't respect where I'm at, right, then this is not going to work.
Yeah.
But I need you to respect me on the highest level. But I know that respect comes with a number, whether we want to accept it or not. And even if you're not at that number yet, the potential to what you want to do in life, if you're going to eventually get to that number, that's important as well. So even if I'm not at that point, and fellas, this is for you, if you're not at that point where you want to be in life yet, you still need to know what that number that you're striving for, because eventually you'll get there, right? But that respect level comes from the number, whether you're there or not.
Right.
So with that said, Kay, let me ask you, man to man.
Yes, sir.
With that said,
okay,
why would you not have that conversation? Because to your point,
yes,
if she's potentially judging you by a number and you're giving her a round ballpark figure, doesn't that mean psychologically you're not comfortable giving her that number? If she respects your morals and everything else, it shouldn't matter what that number is, which is to your point of X, Y, Z. And that's why for me, I'm going to tell her that number, because at the end of the day, it's going to eliminate her if she's not for me. Like, if you tell a woman what you make, it's going to eliminate her, because it lets me know she's small-minded.
Yeah.
If she doesn't see the vision. Because if I have a plan,
yes, I agree. And the
she
reason why I said
I'm just saying.
It's so interesting.
For me,
because they both have two different perspectives
for me, the mystery always has to be there, because I never want a woman to know my exact moves, and I never want her to know exactly what I'm doing and exactly what I'm worth, because it's always a prejudged notion of what she really, how she's going to perceive me, and then two, how she is almost monitoring what I have of my possessions and my value. I don't want that.
So,
then-
that's the same thing.
Yeah,
so when
yeah.
is it safe to let the cat out the bag?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. That's a good question. And I got the answer. And I got the answer. And I truly got the answer. I truly got the answer.
Uh-huh.
When I go to Zales, pay Julie, and get that ring, right? That's as close as you gonna get to knowing my number.
So I'm gonna be honest, you wildin'. That's way late.
Why?
That's way late.
And here's the reason why. Because at that point, now as a businessman, I made the decision to consciously say this is the woman that I'm supposed to carry on for the rest of my life. So along with my morals and my values, now you have entered the space of my financial sector. Now you have qualified and you have now earned this information from me. Before that, respectfully, none of your business.
I mean,
None of your business.
I love it because we do have opposite opinions.
We gotta get to some comments.
No, so because I said, I just feel once you find self, everything else falls into place.
Gotcha.
And then he says, when you search, you find nothing, which is another good point. And he said, just put God 1st. And he also agreed with you when you said, if like I'm not lying about the money because I want her to know up front.
And I have one more thing to add to that.
Okay.
I have one more thing to add to that. What I would say as well is that, and this is from my experience, when a woman knows how much money you have, they're trying to find ways to spend your money.
No, that's the truth.
And
Absolutely. I agree with that. We all on the same page.
it's still up to the man to make sure that doesn't happen.
I disagree.
And it's not the woman's fault. It's in her nature.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's in your nature. It is what it is. But because I've learned that and I experienced that, right? I know it's a certainty that moving forward, that woman, I'm not saying she'll never know that number. Eventually she will, like I said, when it comes time to marriage.
Okay.
But until then, for me, that is sacred for me. And like I said, I'll give you a nice ballpark figure so you have an idea of what realm I'm in, what tax bracket I'm in, where I'm at. But for me, no, as long as the necessities is taken care of, our household is being operated on, everything is on point, you don't need to know that number.
But what if she's not necessarily trying to spend it? She wants to invest it.
Okay.
Now, well, here's another thing. If she wants to invest it, we're gonna have that conversation. I'm gonna know if you are that type of woman, where you're a businesswoman, your mindset is there. Then we can have that conversation.
And then you don't mind sharing how much we have to work with.
Listen.
Listen.
So I'm gonna give you that figure.
Right.
And speaking of the investments, I'll have the capital to invest.
Okay.
But as far as that number, right? You're not gonna know that number. As a matter of fact, if you walk into the boss's office, right? Nobody knows how much the boss is making. Nobody knows how much the boss is making.
I mean, like I said, I agree with you to a certain degree.
Okay.
But for me, where I differ is that I'd rather give that number because at the end of the day, to your point, for me, and again, I know we have similar backgrounds and upbringings and we're legit family and cousins.
Right.
But at the end of the day, for me, I'm gonna always tell that number because I want to know. Like this is a business deal. Like you know what I mean? I need to let you know that. Yo, listen, I make $42,000 a year right now. You make $25,000. This is what we could do. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And the reality of it is, when you give that ballpark, it leaves too much gray area.
Got you.
And so I need to know because at the end of the day, to your point, and to the comment where they were saying like it's all about self. For me, I'm self-confident. Like whenever dating women or in relationships, point blank, period. Like I know I come from a good family. Like I know I do what I gotta do. I know all of the above. So to your point, though, Kay, like I know that's coming with that. Like she's gonna count my pockets.
Right.
But I don't need to let her infiltrate that in a way that's going to impact me negatively. We all human, so we're gonna ease up a little bit. I might have been like, hey, listen, I'm gonna buy a little Gucci bag one time. It's not gonna happen 5 times though. You know what I mean? Like it's just being reasonable with the situation because at the end of the day, like I know where I'm going.
And I respect that opinion.
You know what I mean?
I have
That's
a different
good.
perspective coming from the female side. So you have women who, I would say me as an example, And I feel like men, you should, but then again, this kind of goes back to trauma because men, it's a trust thing for you, Kate, to even want to share that information. However, but if you are dating a woman or with a woman who is so independent to where she won't even ask you for anything, like that's me.
Okay.
And it can be because of things that have happened in my past with dating men. Like, I don't want nobody to throw nothing up in my face, period, off the rip. Don't tell me, oh, well, I did this for you, I did that for you. Then I'm sinking back into my independent role because I come from a single mom. I'm spoiled as ever, but my mom always got my back.
Yeah.
And my mom has always took care of me and my son. So it's always been me, my mom, and my son. So when it came to relationships, I'm not asking you for nothing because I'm going to hold my own.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
So coming from a woman like who has a background as me, and because dating a person who have said, oh, well, I did this for you and I did that for you and I did that for you. Dude, I don't need you. You do that because you're required to do that for me because one, you're my son's father, or two, we're in a relationship. The man is supposed to take care of the home. You're the provider anyway. So this is what you're supposed to do. So I feel like, or maybe this is a question to ask, if a woman, you're dating a woman like me, who even comes out and be like, my treat, I want to buy dinner. Or if I'm telling you, dang, my car, this needs to be fixed on it, and you say, I got you, how much it costs, and I'm like, nah, don't worry about it, I got it. And we're dating for like going on to a year, maybe 2 years or whatever, and I'm never asking you for anything, and you come to that point, like, is there a point where before you go into Zales to buy that ring, do you feel comfortable sharing something like that with me? Because I'm not after you for your money because I got my own.
Good question.
That's a lot to unpack.
I'm ready for the question. If you ain't ready, I'm ready for the response to that one.
Please.
So I mean, at the end of the day, he should be ready to share that information. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, in that situation, you're still building. So the question for me in that scenario, as a man asking you, a woman in that situation, is how are we going to build together? Because if you're independent, the one thing that dudes look at is like, yo, is she independent so much that she does not need me? Because that's not a real thing. Like at the end of the day, like you said in the Bible, it is the help me. So if you are independent, that's fine and dandy. Let's see how we can build together because you are so independent. So we can be codependent to get to that next level. And eventually we both graduate from being codependent and we're both even more independent. So if something does go wrong, we're good to go if we do decide to separate. And that's the point right there. Like, you made a great point. But also in the situation is, for men, if we're dating women like yourself, my number one question in that situation is she so independent she can't take direction? Is she so independent she don't listen to my leadership? Is she so independent she feel like she can walk away? Because that is a potential problem in a lot of those situations with the little boss babes, the boss women things, or whatever the case is. No, April, sorry, April. But I'm just saying, though, like, because I hear it all the time, I'm a boss chick, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, yo, you a boss, but even though you're a boss, are you a leader? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, that's a big thing, because if we can't build together, it don't matter how independent you are.
Right.
And that's why for men, like, I could date a chick at McDonald's because I know she's going to follow my lead and we can still get to the next level. And she's my helpmate, let me get to that next level. So to your point, that's great. It's all just about, can that woman combine with me to get to that next level together?
Right.
Okay.
You know?
And then what woman to woman, I want to say that, when you brought up the fact that it is trauma, because that is what that is. It's trauma. I feel like we, especially as Black women, right? Because other women opposite of us, they don't have a problem with taking things and accepting things. They feel like they are deserving.
Yeah.
And so why don't we feel like we are deserving? We have to really heal from that trauma of feeling like we don't deserve it. We do. We do. And we have to also feel like we don't have to just, be so independent so that the man can feel like he can trust us. Like, we have to let him know too that we need to depend on them. Because I was even watching a video recently. They were talking about there's a nerve in a man, right? I forget what the nerve was. I believe somebody shared it in the group. But that just helps him to feel challenged, right? So if we're not challenging the man, he's not able to reach to his higher level as well.
Mhm.
So we can't come to the table feeling like, oh, I got it all together. I don't need you. Like, those things are dead. We are deserving of every single thing. So yeah, I did that for you. Yeah, you did. You sure did. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's
I
go to some
deserve
of the comments. Great point, T. So we got Iris. She said a true statement, and then she said, "Nope, I'm not worried about your money. Money isn't going to mostly secure me, nor is money a gauge for your potential. What happens with the money goes away. Where is the foundation?" Very true.
Very true.
And then Auntie Terry, shout out. It depends on the woman and her goals for the both of you. That's a good point. If she's looking for security, she will help with the growth of your finances for the future. And then Nika said her counting your pockets shouldn't stop you from being a leader. You came. She upset came. You're tomfoolery.
I love you, Nika. It's so good. I love you, Nika.
I like that. Tomfoolery.
That's tomfoolery. That buffoonery right there. Oh man. What's that time? How we doing that time?
8:02.
8:02. Okay, we probably got maybe like 5 more minutes or so.
Okay.
So.
Any other comments on yours?
No, not on mine. Let me go back on K.
Yeah, next time you guys need to join in. It's ask to be invited so we can get you up on the screen so you can actually share your opinions and everybody else can hear what your thoughts are.
We got to call in next time, right?
That'd be dope.
Yeah, we'll
that'd be
call
dope
in, yeah.
to have you call in.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who tuned in tonight. Even if you're gonna watch this on the replay, just type replay in the comments so that we know that you watched it. We thank you so much for all the love and support. This is so much fun. It's like therapeutic for me. I don't get to get out much. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and thank you guys for sharing your time with us.
Definitely, and we're here every single Monday. So tell your friends, tell everybody. Again, we're gonna have the option going forward to be able to call in. So always comment, tell everybody, share the post. Also go to our website legitimately. This is Romance and Finance. Don't forget about the finance part. At the end of the day, we do everything to help you with your credit, get you to ask the right questions financially, but help you with trying to buy property, real estate, property management, the whole nine, 401ks, everything. So that's my take on it. Anybody else?
Don't forget, we have an event coming up.
Oh, yeah, we do.
This Saturday in Georgetown, South Carolina. If you know anyone in the South Carolina, Georgetown area, please have them come out. It's 210 Church Street, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct.
That's the address. Have them come on out. Our financing fund, listen, man, we trying to take this thing global. Not trying, but we will. So we're going to be coming to a city near you. Our goal is to, educate everyone, in every city, every area on financial literacy, how money works, where to invest in, things of that nature. And we're also having our event here at the Real Office coming up. What was it?
October 19th.
October 19th. Also from 4 to 7, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, from 4 to 7 p.m. Out here in Elmont, Long Island. What's the exact address?
1717 Hempstead Turnpike.
1717 Hempstead Turnpike.
Elmont.
I'm sorry. Yes, Elmont, New York. So definitely come out, and also October 2nd, not this Wednesday that's coming up, but the following Wednesday, we're having our life insurance webinar because it is still Life Insurance Awareness Month. So we want to let you guys know all about life insurance, how it works, the different types of policies, how you can borrow from the cash value, why it's important to have life insurance, what are the benefits for you and your family. So definitely check us out, man. You gave the website, correct?
Yeah. We're gonna put in the chat all the links for Eventbrite to get everything. Also our YouTube, subscribe. Everybody on this call, follow us, all that type of stuff. Yeah.
We here, man.
Yeah, that's it. All
Thank
right.
you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Have a good evening.
We out.
All right. End the live stream.
You got you.